So in this video, I mainly want to talk about Sword and Shield booster box cases and how there's actually a lot of great deals right now for Sword and Shield booster box cases. Now, we already starting to see some premiums with cases with like sets like Paldea Evolved. Cases are going for like $2,900 when boxes aren't even $400 yet. So they already have a premium going for them. Now, for Sword and Shield, some of them have a slight premium. They're not that crazy, but for some sets, there's literally zero premium right now, and those cases are really great buys. The fact that you can buy a Sword and Shield case and it has a zero premium is pretty crazy. So I wanted to cover some of those for you guys here. I'm not going through all the Sword and Shield sets, but I wanted to show you guys some examples of sets which I believe to buy some cases for are not a bad idea. Now, I know not everybody out there has thousands of dollars to buy some cases. I understand that, but if you do have the money, there are some cases out there right now. If you go on TCG Player, there are some great deals. Out of all of these boxes I've found, all the cases are cheapest on TCG Player. Now, I will say this before, if you do go out and buy a case from TCG Player, I would contact the seller to make sure they double box. That's the first thing I would do, because there may be some sellers that just slap a label onto the case, and obviously you do not want that. So that's the biggest advice I give you guys on TCG Player. Ask if they double box before you actually buy a case. So first here, let's look at Chilling Reign. So Chilling Reign right now, the sales volume for all these Sword and Shield boxes, they're so volatile. They don't really sell much. Some days, like you can see 5 here sold, but then some days, like it can just not sell. So just Sword and Shield right now isn't that hot. But for Chilling Reign right now, there isn't actually that many booster boxes listed under like 450. So you can see there's one here from this smaller seller. But after this sells and a couple more sell, it does start to enter 250 or 450 plus range. So these are seemingly going to get up to the mid 400s to getting to almost 500 maybe relatively soon. It's really hard to say. Like I said, I mean, the sales volume is so volatile. Some days a few sales, some days they don't. But we're literally like 3-4 boxes away from this entering 450. So this may start entering that range pretty soon here, because there isn't that much supply. But if you do go on eBay, you're not really going to find much of a discount. All these boxes are pretty much selling for low to mid 400s. The ones that are cheaper have like box damages, so all of them are about the same as TCG Player. But if you can find a nice minty box and it's around the same as TCG Player, buying on eBay might be the way to go. But in this video, I do want to specifically talk about cases, and here you can see there's a seller, Gilbert Games, big seller, selling a case for just under $3,000. Now, if you do the math, it comes out to about $500 a booster box. So you're paying a slight premium right now, compared to TCG Player. But like I just showed you guys, there isn't that many listed until this starts entering close to that $500 range. So if you want to start, buying some cases, you are paying a slight premium as of right now, but you wait a couple months, this may be actually a pretty good deal if you buy these. And if you do go on eBay, you can see how much more these are going for. You can see the only cases listed right now are in the mid $3,000 range. There's one on bid right now for like $2,400. We'll see how much this sells for, but you can see all these selling on eBay are in the mid 3,000 range, but you can buy them readily on TCG Player. So it's already a discount off of what eBay is selling for, but you are paying a slight premium compared to individual boxes. But you're saving like $100 per box buying from here if you're buying a case instead of buying from eBay. So you are getting a pretty big discount already buying a case. So if you want to buy, you probably message the seller to see if they double box. But this is much cheaper than what eBay is going for. Now next is Evolving Skies. Not much to say here. Evolving Skies booster boxes really are staying around 1,900 to $2,000. You go on eBay, you can see they're basically all going for around that range, 1,900 to $2,000. You're not really going to get much of a discount, but I did want to mention here the booster box case. So boxes right now are going from anywhere from 1,900 to $2,000. The more mintier boxes I see sell for around $2,000. Now there's a seller right now that there's only one that has a case listed for $12,500. Now, I know not many people on here probably can just, throw, or not throw away, but just, toss, 25 or $12,500 around, right? But there is this case here that's $12,500, which if you take $2,000 as the box price, you're only paying a little bit under $100 a premium per box, which is not that much in the grand scheme of things. And this could potentially maybe be a first print case. I'm not really sure. You can message the seller if you do want to buy this. You can see one has already sold, presumably from this seller. So I don't know if this is going to be up by the time you guys are watching, because you can see one did sell here. But this is pretty cheap for a case of Evolving Skies booster boxes. So yeah, this is a big one, but like I said, I don't know how many people here have $12,500 to just buy a Evolving Skies booster box case, but it is pretty cheap comparatively. If you go on eBay, you can see these cases going for here's the lowest one, 13.5. All these other ones are pretty much $15,000. So this is a pretty good buy right here. But I mean, like I said, I don't know how many people have this much money to spend, but if you do, this is a pretty good deal. But if you, like I'll mention, message the seller if you're interested. If it's a first print case, if you want to make sure it's double boxed, I'm guessing if they're selling something this expensive, it's going to have price signature and everything. But probably want to message the seller before buying. But this is a big one that I found that's a pretty good deal. Now next here, Lost Origin. Lost Origin right now is about $500. It's pretty much stayed this price for a while. It's dipped a tiny bit. I mean, all these have kind of dipped a small bit over the past month. Now for, just on eBay, individual boxes selling for basically TCG Player on 500, not getting really much of a discount. But I did want to mention here the case. Now this is a big one. You're paying a $0 premium on the booster box buying this case. Now you're actually paying a little bit less, because you can see here this seller, this Magic card, which they do have, no feedback. So let's just actually skip this person here. This person right here selling for $3,000, which if you do the math, it comes out to $500 a booster box. And if we see what these are selling for, they're selling for $500. So you're paying a $0 premium on the case. Like I said, message the seller, make sure it's double boxed, but you're paying $0 of a premium. So that's pretty good. And if you go on eBay, you will find that these cases are much more expensive on eBay. $3,600, $3,700. This is a sleeve case, and that seems to be it for the cases. There's one down here for like $6,000. But yeah, this is a pretty good one where you're paying literally a $0 premium on the case. Now next here, Silver Tempest booster boxes. They're still in the mid 300s. These have literally been the same price like seemingly forever. These are maybe possibly going to be start going towards 400, but it hasn't even hit 400 yet, so who knows, but it's in the mid 300s right now. If you go on eBay, not going to find much of a discount or anything. They're all around 350. If you do want a case though, they're going for around $2,400 on eBay. There's a few of them listed. So if you do the math, 2,400, it's around $400 per box, which is a bit of a premium, but you take these couple listings away, you're maybe paying a $25 premium on each box for the case. Now, if you do go on eBay, you will see cases. Once again, you'll notice a trend here, are much more expensive on eBay. You can even see one listing right here that's going for bid, and this case looks all sorts of jacked up, is going for $2,400, when you could literally go right here and buy from a few sellers for $2,400. So yeah, you can see all these rest of these are going for, this one's going for $3,000, this one's going for like $2,700. So yeah, you can just see there's a lot of deals on TCG Player for all of these cases. So that's all I want to show you guys. There's a lot of great opportunities to buy Sword and Shield booster box cases right now that you can either just pay a $0 premium on each booster box and get a sealed case, or you may just pay a tiny premium on the box, on the booster box case. And like I showed you for Evolving Skies, that's a pretty big one. The fact you can buy this case for not much of a premium at all. And Evolving Skies obviously being a very expensive booster box, the fact you're not paying much of a premium comparatively is pretty good. So that's all I want to show you guys here. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.